They were locked in cages like animals, but I saw the humanity in their eyes. Marcus walked through the crowded corridors of Kepler Station, his worn leather jacket hiding the few credits he had left. The air smelled of engine fuel and desperation. Neon signs flickered in languages he barely understood, advertising everything from stolen weapons to fake identification chips. He had come here to buy salvage parts for his broken ship, but the prices were too high. His stomach growled as he passed food vendors, their alien delicacies too expensive for someone like him. Marcus was about to turn back when he heard voices echoing from a narrow alley. Curiosity pulled him forward. The sounds grew louder, rough. Laughter mixed with something that made his blood run cold. As he peered around the corner, his heart stopped. Cages lined the walls like prison cells. Inside them were beings of different species, all looking broken and afraid. Some had scales that shimmered in the dim light, others had feathers that dulled with neglect. But it was the figure in the center cage that caught his attention. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin had a soft blue glow, and tiny crystals grew along her arms like living jewelry. Her eyes were silver and filled with a sadness, so deep it made Marcus's chest ache. She wore nothing but torn cloth, and her hands shook as she held onto the bars. "Fresh meat today," shouted a large alien with 6 arms and yellow teeth. "Perfect for labor, entertainment, or whatever else you need. Prices start low, but they won't stay that way." Marcus felt sick. This wasn't a market for goods. It was a slave auction. Other buyers gathered around, examining the prisoners like they were objects. Some poked at the cages with metal sticks, making the captives flinch. The blue-skinned woman never looked away from Marcus. Her silver eyes seemed to see right through him, past his fear, and into something deeper. She didn't beg or cry like the others, just watched him with a quiet dignity that broke his heart. "What about that one?" asked a buyer, pointing at her. "The crystal skin looks exotic." The auctioneer grinned. "Ah, you have good taste. That's Naya from the crystal caves of Lunaris Prime. Very rare, very valuable. Bidding starts at 5,000 credits. Marcus's hand went to his pocket. He had maybe 300 credits to his name. Not nearly enough for food, fuel, and definitely not enough to save anyone. But as he looked at Naya again, he thought of his sister back on Earth. She had been taken by raiders when he was too young and weak to stop them. He had spent years wondering what happened to her. Here was another sister, another daughter, another soul that needed saving. And this time, he wasn't a helpless child. 6,000, Marcus called out, surprising himself. The auctioneer laughed. "Got the credits to back that up, human?" Marcus stepped forward, pulling out his credit chip and his blaster. "All," he said. "Everything I have. Just give me the girl." The crowd went quiet. Naya's eyes widened. The auctioneer looked at the weapons and credits, then shrugged. "Deal. But remember, no returns." Marcus's hands shook as he opened Naya's cage. She looked at him with wonder and fear. "Why?" She whispered in accented Galactic common. "'Cause everyone deserves to be free," he replied softly. "Naia," followed Marcus. Through the twisting corridors of Kepler Station, her bare feet silent on the metal floors. He had given her his jacket to cover herself, and she clutched it tightly around her shoulders. The crystals on her arms glowed brighter when she was nervous, and right now, they were shining like tiny stars. "We need to get to docking bay 7. Marcus whispered as they pressed against a wall to avoid a patrol. "I know someone who might help us." Behind them, shouts echoed through the station. The slave traders had discovered other buyers complaining about the auction being cut short. It wouldn't be long before they came looking for their merchandise. Marcus led Naya down a maintenance shaft and through the cargo levels. The station was a maze, but he had been here before during his smuggling days. Those skills were coming in handy now. They reached docking bay 7 just as klaxons began wailing throughout the station. Marcus pressed his palm against a scanner, and a small cargo ship's ramp lowered with a hiss. "Vera," Marcus called out. "I need a favor." A woman with short black hair and oil-stained coveralls appeared at the top of the ramp. Captain Vera Santos had been Marcus's partner years ago, before he tried to go legitimate. She took one look at Naya and raised an eyebrow. Smuggling people now, Marcus? It's a new low, even for you. She's not cargo, Marcus said firmly. She's someone who needs help. Vera studied Naya's glowing crystals and silver eyes. Something in the alien woman's expression softened her. Fine. But we leave now, and you owe me big time. He rushed. Aboard, a station security began searching the docking bays. Vera's ship, the Star Dancer, lifted off just as armed guards reached their bay. Laser fire sparked off their hull as they accelerated into space. Where to? Vera asked from the pilot's seat. Anywhere that's not here, Marcus replied. In the ship's small medical bay, Marcus cleaned the cuts on Naya's wrists where the shackles had rubbed raw. She winced, but didn't pull away. Her skin felt warm under his gentle touch, and the crystals along her arms pulsed with soft light. On my world, Naya said quietly, these crystals show our emotions. Right now, they show gratitude. Into her silver eyes. What do they show when you're happy? Naya smiled for the first time since he'd met her. Would you like to see? She leaned closer, her face inches from his. The crystals began to glow with a warm golden light that filled the small room. Marcus felt his heart racing as she placed her hand on his cheek. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing me as more than just a thing to be owned. Their lips met in a gentle kiss that tasted like starlight and hope. The crystals on her arms blazed brighter, painting rainbow patterns on the walls. When they finally parted, Marcus saw tears in her silver eyes. I haven't felt safe in so long, Naya confessed. Marcus pulled her close, feeling her warmth against his chest. You're safe now, I promise. Outside the medical bay, Vera called back, hate to interrupt, but we've got company. 3 hunter ships closing fast. Marcus and Naya rushed to the cockpit. Through the view screen, they could see sleek black ships with red markings gaining on them. Slave hunters, Naya said, her voice tight with fear. They'll never stop chasing us. Marcus grabbed the co-pilot controls. Then we better make sure they can't follow. The Star Dancer limped through the atmosphere of refuge, its hull scarred from the running battle with the hunter ships. Vera had managed to lose them in an asteroid field, but not before taking heavy damage to their engines and life support. Refuge was a hidden world known only to smugglers and those who lived outside the law. Its cities were built into massive canyon walls, invisible from orbit. It was the perfect place to disappear. I know someone here, Vera said, as they landed in a concealed hangar. Dex Vorthin runs a safe house for people like your friend. Dex turned out to be a tall alien with purple skin and 4 arms, each ending in delicate fingers that moved like a musician's. His eyes were kind, and he smiled when he saw Naya. Another refugee from the flesh markets, he said sadly. You are welcome. Here, sister. The safe house was carved into the canyon wall with rooms that opened onto terraces, overlooking a hidden valley. Marcus was given a small chamber next to Naya's, and for the first time in days, they could both rest without fear. Dr. Zara Quinn, the house's human medic, examined Naya's injuries. The crystals are part of her nervous system, she explained. To Marcus, they're how her people express emotion and bond with others. The trauma has caused some of them to go dark. Will she be okay? Marcus asked. Zara smiled. With time and care, yes, but she'll need someone she trusts to help her heal. Over the next few days, Marcus and Naya spent hours together on the terrace. She told him about her world, Lunaris Prime, where crystal gardens grew in caves deep underground. Her people, the Lumari, were artists and dreamers who communicated through touch and light. We mate for life, Naya explained one evening as they watched the twin moons rise. When to Lumari, join their crystals, synchronize forever. It's the most sacred bond in our culture. Marcus took her hand, feeling the warm pulse of her crystals against his palm. What happens if one of them dies? The other's crystals go dark, Naya said quietly. They call it crystal death. It's why the slavers target us. We're so devoted to our bonds that we rarely try to escape if they hold our mates. Did you have someone? Marcus asked gently. NEIA's crystals dimmed. His name was Kale. He took him first, then came back for me. I don't know if he's still alive. Marcus felt a stab of jealousy followed immediately by shame. Naya had lost everything, and here he was feeling selfish about her past. "I'm sorry," he said. Naya turned to face him, her silver eyes reflecting the moonlight. "Don't be. What we had was beautiful, but it's gone. What we have now is different, but no less real." She leaned against him, her head on his shoulder. Ka! The crystals along her arms began to glow with that warm golden light again. "Earth," Marcus said. "We have a saying. Home is where the heart is." "Then I think," Naya whispered, "my home is here with you." That night, under the alien stars, they made love for the first time. Naya's crystals blazed like captured sunlight, filling the room with waves of color that pulsed in rhythm with their heartbeats. When Marcus touched her, she gasped, and her entire body glowed as if lit from within. "I can feel your emotions," she breathed against his ear. "Your joy, your desire, your love. It's beautiful." They moved together slowly, tenderly, as if they had all the time in the universe. When they finally lay entwined in each other's arms, Naya's crystals had taken on a new pattern, one that matched the steady rhythm of Marcus's heart. "What does that mean?" he asked, tracing the glowing lines with his finger. Naya smiled sleepily. "It means you're home." Their peaceful days at the safe house ended when Dex burst into Marcus's room before dawn, his forearms moving frantically. "Found us," he said urgently. "Hunter ships landed an hour ago. Quell Shadowfang himself is leading the search." Marcus had heard of Shadowfang, a vicious alien bounty hunter who specialized in tracking escaped slaves. He never gave up, never showed mercy, and always collected his prize. "How long do we have?" Marcus asked, already pulling on his clothes. "Minutes, maybe less," Dex replied. Marcus ran to Naya's room and found her already awake, her crystals pulsing. "With fear, I heard the ships," she said. "They've come for me. They've come for both of us now," Marcus corrected. "But we're not going without a fight." Dex led them through hidden passages carved deep into the canyon walls. Other refugees joined them, aliens from dozens of worlds, all fleeing various forms of persecution. They moved like ghosts through the darkness. Children clutched in their parents' arms. Behind them, the sound of blaster fire echoed through the tunnels. The hunters had found the safe house. "There's an old mining complex deeper in the canyon," Dex explained as they ran. "If we can reach it, there are dozens of ways out." But as they emerged from a side tunnel, lights blazed around them. Krell Shadowfang stood waiting with a squad of heavily armed hunters. He was massive, with black scales and red eyes that glowed. In the darkness, "The crystal girl and her human pet," Shadowfang growled. "You've led us quite a chase." The refugees scattered, but there was nowhere to run. The hunters had them surrounded. "Let the others go," Marcus said, stepping forward. "It's us you want." Shadowfang laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Oh, I'll take them all. The flesh markets pay well for exotic specimens." That's when Juno. Blake made her entrance. The human resistance fighter dropped from an overhead shaft, her twin pistols blazing. Hunters fell left and right as she rolled behind cover. "Move," Juno shouted. "I can't hold them long." Marcus grabbed Naya's hand and ran toward the mining complex. Behind them, Juno's weapons lit up the tunnel like lightning. They could hear Shadowfang roaring orders to his remaining men. In the maze of mining tunnels, Marcus and Naya became separated from the others. They pressed deeper into the darkness, following the sound of underground water. "Marcus," Naya whispered, her crystals barely glowing. "If they catch us, promise me something." "We're going to make it out," Marcus said firmly. "Promise me," Naya insisted, "that you'll remember me as I am now. Not as property, not as a slave. As someone who chose to love you." Marcus stopped and pulled her close. In the darkness of the tunnel, her crystals were the only light. "I promise. But you're going to tell our children this story yourself someday." Naya's eyes widened. "Children, if you'll have me," Marcus said. "Properly, I mean. However your people do these things." Before Naya could answer, Shadowfang's voice echoed through the tunnels. "I can smell your fear, little crystal." Come out now, and I'll make your deaths quick." They ran deeper into the mines, their footsteps echoing off stone walls. The tunnels branched and twisted, leading them further from the surface. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit grew louder. Finally, they reached a dead end, a vast underground cavern with a pool of black water at its center. Phosphorescent moss on the walls provided an eerie blue glow. "Nowhere left to run," Shadowfang said as he emerged from the tunnel with his remaining hunters. Marcus raised his blaster, knowing it was hopeless. "Stay behind me," he told Naya, but Naya stepped forward instead, her crystals beginning to blaze with brilliant white light. "No," she said. "Together." Naya's crystals erupted with blinding radiance that filled the entire cavern. The hunters cried out and covered their eyes, momentarily stunned by the intense light. In that moment of confusion, Marcus heard the roar of engines overhead. The cavern ceiling exploded inward as human coalition ships blasted through. Admiral Storm Blackwood herself rappelled down with a squad of Marines, their weapons trained on the remaining hunters. "Stand down," Blackwood commanded. "You're in violation of coalition law," Krell Shadowfang snarled, and reached for his weapon, but Marcus was faster. His blaster bolt caught the bounty hunter's center mass, sending him toppling into the dark pool. The remaining hunters surrendered quickly when faced with coalition firepower. "How did you find us?" Marcus asked, as medics checked Naya for injuries. Admiral Blackwood smiled grimly. "Your friend Juno Blake got word to us about the slave operation. We've been hunting these markets for months. We received some interesting intelligence," she continued, "about a human trader who gave up everything to save an alien woman. That kind of courage is exactly what the coalition needs." As they were lifted to safety, Naya's crystals had returned to their warm golden glow. She held Marcus's hand tightly, her silver eyes bright with unshed tears. "It's over," Marcus whispered. "You're truly free now." "We're free," Naya corrected him. 6 months later, Marcus stood on the bridge of the Coalition cruiser Liberator, watching as they approached the newly established world of New Haven. It was to be a sanctuary for refugees from across the galaxy, a place where all species could live in peace. Naya joined him at the viewport, her crystals now showing complex patterns of joy and contentment. She wore a simple white dress that complemented her blue skin, and around her neck was a pendant made from one of Marcus's old ship components, a symbol of their unconventional love story. "Nervous?" she asked, noting the way his hands fidgeted with his uniform. "Terrified," Marcus admitted. "I've never been responsible for an entire world before." Admiral Blackwood had offered him the position of New Haven's first governor. Recognizing his unique ability to see past species barriers, Naya would serve as cultural liaison, helping new arrivals adapt to their sanctuary. "You won't be alone," Naya reminded him. "We'll build this together." That evening, as the twin suns of New Haven set over their new home, Marcus and Naya stood on the steps of the provisional government building. Hundreds of beings from dozens of worlds had gathered for the ceremony. Dex Vorthan was there with other refugees from the safe house. Ira Santos had brought her ship to help with supply runs. Even Juno Blake had come, trading her weapons for a teacher's position at the new academy. As Naya placed her hand over Marcus's heart, her crystals began to pulse in perfect synchronization with his heartbeat. According to Lumari tradition, they were now bonded for life. "I love you," Marcus said simply. "And I love you," Naya replied, her crystals blazing with such brilliance that the entire crowd gasped in wonder. They kissed as the stars came out overhead. And for the first time in either of their lives, they knew they were exactly where they belonged. Love had not only conquered all, it had given them a future worth fighting for. In the distance, ships continued to arrive, bringing more refugees to their new home. Each one carried souls who had been broken by cruelty, but not defeated by it. Together, they would build something beautiful from the ashes of their pain. Marcus had once been a failed trader with nothing but an empty stomach and a broken ship. Naya had been property in a cage, her dignity stripped away by those who saw her as less than human. Now they were partners, leaders, and living proof that love could bloom even in the darkest places. Their story would be told for generations, not as a fairy tale, but as a reminder that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is the simple decision to see another being's humanity and choose to act on it. The heart that defied the stars had found its home at last.